Margo Sorum, and today we're going to do what my favorite warm-up is, and this is also the warm-up I get super excited about for athletes because it's going to work on the hips in a way that is so beneficial for both conditioning them, mobilizing them. So let's just get started. We're going to need a block or some sort of step for you to be on. Step will work, so just a little bit of height. And I'm going to use the wall for a little bit of extra balance. Now on this block, we want to get firm. So your knees are firm, the legs are firm. It's a little bit like you're stiff. And we're going to push into the leg that's on the block, and it's going to elevate your hip up, and it's going to shorten the side of your waist a little bit. And then you're going to push down. Push up, push down. I know that sounds weird, but keep pushing into the standing leg to both elevate this hip and to push it down. And this little elevator ride that you're going to go on is going to work the deep six muscles in the standing leg. So there's going to be a tremendous amount of workout going on. We're going to go up, forward, down, and around. So think of yourself as being in a choo-choo train track, and that piston's working, and you're staying in place, but you're moving around, and then reverse it the other way, and I hope you're burning. It's like a dance party going on inside of your hip. And then go up and down, up and down, up and down, like you're jogging to the finish line. This hip should feel super fatigued. And we've just conditioned and ready for the supermodel runway. Let those hips move around. All right, and then we step up and do our other side. Again, firm up. Knees need to stay straight. Knees stay straight even when you push in and lift the hip, and knees stay straight as you push down. Up and down. Keep in mind too that that leg is not wandering around out to the side. It's staying just up and down. It's going to isolate some deep hip muscles, and this elevation and depression, I'm going to use these words again when we get into the big leg stretches later, so it'll be a skill that you'll start to work with. And then we go up, forward, down, and around. Up, forward, down, and around. A couple times. Oh, look for the burn. Go the other direction too. Now go up and down, up and down, up and down. Fast, like you're jogging, getting to the finish line. Let those tissues really fatigue. And step off. Even with just that little bit, just stand and find your posture. Look for earth surfing. Find that, oh yeah, deep muscles in your hips are helping you stand with the legs like pillars of support. Okay. You're going to need a belt for the next part or a scarf. And really a scarf is my preferred mode, so I'm going to use that. You're going to lie on your back. I'm moving my block. Keep the knees bent. Bring one knee into your chest, wrap the belt around, come on up. Keep this knee a little bit soft. We're going to do hip warm-ups. You're going to let this knee drop external and let it drop internal. Let it go wide. Let it turn in. And you can see my hip has to roll a little bit to do this too. You're going a little bit in and out. The belt stays on the inside and then moves to the outside. And it's a little bit awkward at first, but just play with it. It's turning your femur bone around inside your hip joint quite a lot. Whoo. A little resistance against your belt or strap to keep some tension. And then let it go and rest. Maybe chug. Ooh, feel that hip. Same side. Bend your knees. Bring this leg up, wrap around. Both hands hold that strap. You're going to let that knee go external, let it drop down, and let that leg go out to the side. Let it bend and let it pop back up. So the knee goes wide, the leg opens. And yes, the whole body gets to do a little bit of turning. And everything, the knees are a little bit bent. This is the warm-up. And you do use a little resistance against your belt. You are doing a little rolling and a little turning. Keep this knee bent to keep the hips a little bit safer and your back a little bit safer. One more time. Slip out of your belt, let it go. And just just rest. Already it's likely your two sides are feeling a bit different. We're going to do that same quick warm-up on the other side. Bend both of your knees. Take your other leg up, wrap the strap or the belt or the scarf around. You're going to let the knee go wide, kind of like a happy baby, and then come back up. And then you're going to turn in. And it's kind of an awkward movement. But what we're doing is we're turning the femur bone around inside the hip joint. And this is going to give it a really good warm-up. So think of that femur bone turning around inside the acetabulum. And you know, if you get curious about some of the anatomy that I talk about, be sure to just look it up. There's lots of information online, and you can get really curious about how your body works. Good job. Slip out and rest. The rest is just as important. Take a little pause, enjoy what you just did. And then let's begin again. Take that strap up and around, same leg. And this time you're going to go wide, happy baby, and let that leg come to the floor. And then come back up. And you'll notice this other leg is turning a little bit too to let that happen. So again, even if you feel like, gosh, I'm not flexible enough, just play with making this easy. And you only have to go as far as it does feel easy. So you might not be as dramatic as I am the first time, and that's fine. Maybe it looks a little less. But you can move and displace a little bit in this warm-up to just kind of hydrate. We're oiling the hips and getting them ready for the big leg stretches. Last one. And release that and let it go. Okay, now we're going to do one of my favorite sequences in yoga. It's called the Padangusthasana series, the big leg stretches. We're going to close the frame for this. So if you have a wall, use it. You're going to put the feet on the wall, just as if you were standing into two legs like pillars of support. Bring one leg in, hold on to it. Now, the tricky thing here is that oftentimes when we bring our knee into your chest, you pull in and you hike the hip up and you contort the hips. Well, I'm more interested in your hips staying level. So the leg, this knee might not come that far in, and then we actually resist back out against it so that your hips stay nice and level and you're really getting a good fit of this femur bone down into the hip joint. Then you're going to take your belt, wrap it around the foot, and bring it up. Now this is the hamstring stretch. And go ahead and lower the leg down, down, down until your knee is able to straighten. And then bring that leg in and in, but make sure you're not cheating. So I could make it look really fancy. If I hiked my hip up, maybe I could get my leg really high in. But that is not the goal. The goal is to keep your hips level and then see if you can move your femur bone in. So in some ways, I'm kind of pushing my hip down and bringing my femur bone in. So it's very stable and it will really activate the hamstring stretch. And again, it doesn't need to look dramatic to feel intense. This feels plenty intense. Different places on the foot will intensify. Maybe you feel it more in the back of your calf or in the back of your knee, but anywhere along the back of the leg is fine. Then we're going to take this arm out and we're going to organize our core. So push the arm down, keep your rib cage down, and externally rotate your either leg, externally rotate it, keep that hip down, and then open out to the side. Now this is where, on that other exercise, it was okay to let the hips go, but in this variation, we want to keep our psoas aligned, and we only want to go out so far as we keep the core organized. So I might not be able to go out very far. And now we're focusing on the inner thigh strengthening and the psoas strengthening. So use your core work to be here. I'm almost lifting back up into my scarf. Good, come up from that. Reach up and hold with your other hand. And now again, this hand is available to push the femur bone down, to depress it. And I hope that just makes the IT band light up. So focus on depression. Lower that thigh down into the hip so you feel it deep in the bone. And then you can turn and come over and across. Maybe stay up at hip height. That might be safer for some of you if you have any SI issues. You might not want to cross the midline. For some of you, coming down is fine. And then hip hiker again. So roll the pelvis towards the wall, roll it up, roll it down, roll it up. We've been working this lumbar pelvic rhythm. That's what you're doing here. And you can also think of your hip hiker that we just did to warm up. Push that hip down. Trace the side of your body. Oh, get a tremendous expression through your whole body. You're really finding how to make everything its longest and its strongest. So enjoy this long and strong angle. And then release. And you've fully made over that hip. It's like today is hip makeover day. Amazing. Other side. Scooch up to the wall. Find your good posture. Bring that other leg in. And again, let me show it on this side. Rather than pulling the knee all the way in and hiking your hips and shortening the waist, make the waist long. And find that place that is in good posture, where the pelvis is really stable and the lumbar spine has its natural arch. So please don't flatten the arch and hike the knee up. Nope. Let the arch happen and stabilize here. Press against your hands as resistance. That's going to set you up really well for the hamstring stretch. As you bring your knee in, the low back might go to the mat. That's okay. But then let your lumbar spine relax again and drop down into the pelvis. Depress. Whew. And then keep the spine stable, the hip stable, and see if the femur bone can come closer. And this is your femur bone. And your hip is really made up of the femur bone and the acetabulum. That makes the hip joint. So we're kind of isolating. I want to stabilize the hip and I want to bring that femur bone in a little bit more. Oh, you'll feel the back of your leg. Breathe there. I sometimes like to floss a little bit side to side and get the 3 parts of the hamstring. Good, hold stable. Reach up and hold the belt with one hand. I like the arm to be straight to, again, be a pillar of support. Open your other arm up to organize your sternum and the deep abs. Externally rotate and bring this out, but only as long as you can stay organized. So it doesn't go very far. And I'm really using the wall to help me, and I feel that psoas quake. So this is very stretch, strengthen. There's boundaries. And for some of us, it's hard to find these boundaries. So you use the wall to help, and you're using the resistance up against the strap to help. Come back up through center. You're going to bring the hand up. And again, here it turns to, some people start to internally rotate and hike the hip, but please lower the hip down, depress, externally rotate to help with that. Push the hands against the femur bone to keep it down, and then turn the foot at the wall and then go over for your twist. Pause maybe at the hip joint. Externally rotate the knee a little bit. Feel this whole lateral leg line. So this is IT band, tensor fascia lata. Maybe come to the floor, and then you can play with your hip hikers. For some of you, having a bolster or using that block to keep the hip level, and you can mark your hip hiker here, is perfect idea. So use what you need. Lean towards the wall. Trace the side of the body. Get a tremendous integration of your pose. Feel that deep hip in the deep six, and along that lateral leg line. Release. And I think you'll have a beautiful day enjoying the hips that you made over. Enjoy.